Alright. We've gone Hollywood. Moving up.
Hollywood.
So what's this map? Is this a,
This is the one that has the Western motif as you get past the first objective. It's a payload map.
So I was trying to think of any horrible stories I have. I really don't. I mean, I have nights that got drunk. Can't think of any, like, rear-ending somebody or setting off pipe bombs or anything like that.
Not that you would do any of those things.
Not that I've done or confessed to those things before. God, I told the getting arrested in the graveyard at midnight story on a show, I think, too.
Think?
I don't know.
I mean, sure, I guess.
Does that ring a bell? Does
not,
Mike getting arrested?
Not immediately.
Mike getting arrested in the graveyard. Okay.
Not immediately.
Well, we'll have to put a pin in that one because I promised a Korean story on this one.
Yeah.
There was the I don't have a great story. I have things we did. So once again, John's camping the exit route, and we'll see how well this works. No. Oh wow, there d.va right onto it. Oh,
they had a healer behind them.
Yeah. They were set for that. I was gonna say, if you really want to get cocky with it, spray the wall so that they would see when they come out.
Yeah, I thought about doing that. That would also be a great way just to psych somebody out. Like, just give them a moment's pause. It's like, wait a second.
I guess all that's coming to mind is to sort of just describe what it was like. Mid-90s Korea. So the Korean culture, I guess, history, it has a very heavy Confucius background, right?
Okay.
Even though I think Christianity is the dominant religion there now. And I'm probably butchering this a little bit and just overlooking details, and somebody can correct, that's fine. But like one of the things is like there is like a center and a place for everything.
Yeah.
And that's the place for that thing. So like the city is Seoul, and there's not really there's other cities, there's other towns, but there's never been like a second, like Korea has never gone and set up like a major second city. To the point where my understanding is that North Korea considers Seoul the capital still. They're just not there. You know, that Pyongyang is not really the capital of North Korea, that it's Seoul still, because like that's the one place. And in the design of the city, there are markets where it's like, this is the textile market. This is the like dishware and bowls and all that market. And you go there and there's like a couple hundred, it's like a giant open space flea market mall, and then there's some nicer stores you go in and things like that. They're all right next to each other. Like, it makes no sense from any kind of capitalism standpoint when you look at it. 'Cause it's like, you guys are all right next to your competitors. Like, I learned in the arts of Korean negotiating of like just going, nah, and just start walking across the street to the next vendor, and they'll come follow you out in the street and give you a better price. You know? And I started to start to enjoy that too. And I also still started to learn that even doing that stuff, I was getting better prices, but I was still getting American deals. You know, I was not getting, when I started to have, cause I was over for a couple of years, so, when I would go with my Korean friends, the deals they would get.
By the way, just brief interrupt.
Yeah.
I know that guy's teabagging me because he killed me, but I do want to point out that I had him away from the objective for like a solid minute.
Yes. Again, it's not skill count, not ego.
Yeah.
It's the objective. So Someday Moon, I may be mispronouncing those slightly. I probably am. It's been a long time. And I was never great at my pronunciations. The younger Koreans wouldn't correct me. The older ones would try. And then I just didn't develop the ear to hear the bits I was saying wrong. So one of those is like the textile market. The other one was like the dishes and knickknacks and wares and that kind of market on there. I got a set of bowls I still use. They look like fine china. I use them as my ramen bowls because they're shaped perfectly to like get some ramen in there with a bunch of stuff in the ramen, you know, and then still have enough lip on the bowl that you're not going to spill anything.
Yeah.
And my mom, I gave her like a set of these bowls like all the time too, and she keeps them up in the fine china because that's what they look like, what they are. But it's like, I paid $5 for like a set. I got like 3 sets of, you know, for $5 each of these bowls, with cups and other things they came with. Like, just use them as everyday wear. I do, you know. Can of chunky soup goes in this bowl.
Right.
And they got all intricate patterns and designs on them and everything. I never really got any like knockoff clothes. Like, I didn't go in for like the off-label Nikes and everything they had and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I did get a tailored suit that I still have to this day. I haven't really changed that much in size since then. I can still fit into it.
I believe that.
And it's nice. It's double-breasted, and it's got the cut. I was explaining to him, you know, and it's just like, you know, what kind of suit do you want? And I was just like, I want American Gangster, basically. I want the double-breasted, wide shoulder, you know, narrow waist cut suit.
I had one of those suits in high school. Because I wanted the same thing, you know, I wanted like the fucking zoot suit.
Yeah, yeah. Now the pattern I chose is a dark charcoal, gray. It's not black, but it's not loud like you could get away with on the suit design.
Right.
Because it's like, this is my suit, man. I've worn it to weddings. I've worn it to my wedding. I've worn it to funerals. You know,
I've worn it to my funeral. Right.
I'll probably be wearing it at my funeral. It's that, you know, a man should have one good suit.
Yeah.
Right?
Man should have one good zoot suit.
Yep, it's my interview suit. Bought a bunch of silk ties.
No, it ain't.
I'm sorry. What was that?
He said it's high noon.
Oh.
He was doing his ultimate. I'm
Okay.
like, no, it's not.
Okay. All right. I know if that was a zoot suit reference. I didn't catch
Sorry. No, that
high
was,
noon there.
Yeah.
Makes more sense now.
Yeah.
There was also Nakwan Arcade. I love going there. That was the music instrument building. Massive, huge, like, imagine 3 Sam's Clubs smashed together and then twice as high.
That sounds awful.
And I mean, navigating it is terrible. They don't really have toilets. At least they didn't in the 90s. They have holes in the ground. You just squat.
Yeah.
And you're expected to bring your own toilet paper. So if you didn't think about that, you know, could be a problem.
Yeah.
Also, just squatting, you know, eventually you could get used to it. You know, you gotta go. But just squatting over a hole that you pour a bucket of water down. You're like, really, guys? Like, that was one of the things when I got my apartment downtown, got my little flat that we had downtown, was Western bathroom. Has a toilet, has a bathtub. Because what they would do is just have a hole in the floor at one place for the toilet, and then have a drain in the center, and then the shower just sprays into the center. You know, like, you don't have, it's just tiled everywhere in the bathroom. Just hose it all off when you're done, you know? Did you get a kill on Nerf this, or she just...
No, that was the other D.va.
Oh, okay.
She was doing a little too late.
The subway line was amazing in Korea. And it's done really well. It's numbered and brightly different colors for all the different lines, so you don't have to read any Korean to get around. It's well designed for somebody who's not from there to figure the basics out.
Yeah.
I still carry my subway token in my wallet. My last subway token that I had, because they give you these little tickets, a little orange ticket, probably changed now, that you would buy for 10,000 won, and every time you went on a ride, depending on where you got on and where you got off, changes the fare, it would just deduct from that ticket's account. And then eventually it would be like used up, and you wouldn't get the ticket back, and you just buy another ticket. And until the last one, I didn't ever finish using up, and I've just kept it in my wallet for 22 years. At this point, I'd love to go back. Korea is beautiful. Up there in the mountains. In fact, if it wasn't like the whole DMZ and North Korea and all that up there, it would be a resort. Like, they would make a huge ton of money on people traveling there. In the spring and fall when it blooms, like, it's right on par with like Cherry Blossom Festival of Japan. It's amazing up there. The Pacific Ocean there is really beautiful and clear. Jeju Island, at the south tip of the island, is like a little mini Hawaii. They have trains that run up and down throughout the entire country that you can ride. And man, they have legroom. Like, you just kick back, lay that entire seat down, not even be invading the personal space of the person behind you.
Oh, well.
And then the other cool thing is the chairs could slide back and turn around. So if like 4 of you got on the train, you could just turn 2 seats around in front of you and slide your seats together. You know, close enough to you with like board game or something.
I'd like to win.
Here's d.va's movie poster.
Unfortunately, like, no StarCraft going on, no internet cafes when I was there, no K-pop. It's not a thing.
That's probably the most impressive.
It was weird when Michael Jackson came and over and toured through Korea, because Koreans were not into him. Like, the whole like child molestation type stuff.
Yeah.
They're just like, go. You don't want you. You know, I was like, wow.
Not about that life. Good on 'em.
I did see Eric Clapton there. I've seen Eric Clapton 3 times in my life. He's one of my favorite artists. And I mean, I learned to play blues guitar too. That was the thing I did once I got out of high school and realized you can't be cool playing French horn. And I learned enough to start learning to play guitar, and then I learned how to improvise in blues guitar. And I'm like, that stopped my desire to get better at it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I'm just gonna screw around now. I'm just gonna like improvise everything. You know, I got the basics and I can do decent at. So, of course, Eric Clapton covers a lot of the blues standard stuff and does a lot of blues songs. So, saw his Nothing But the Blues tour in the U.S. Loved it, but he doesn't play any of his standards. You know, he plays whatever he's into at the time. People in the crowd are dicks. They're yelling Layla and stuff like that.
Freebird!
It's not his song.
I know.
Okay,
yeah.
but it would not surprise me to be in the audience and somebody yelled at.
Oh, that's like the dick move.
And it's like, I'm also irritated because, like, on the ticket, he's always very clear, you know, and it's kind of like, I'm not playing that, you know? The Nothing But the Blues tour was called An Evening of Nothing But the Blues. He's only going to play blues songs and blues standards. And that's when he put out the, From the Cradle album. So it's like, if you're following the artist, this is what you're going to go see right now, right? But when he came to Korea, I guess it's because Americans are just dicks and just assholes, right?
Yeah.
I was like, fuck these guys. They don't deserve it. But Koreans, They fucking party hard, man. They go straight from the job to the concert. They're still in suits and ties. They fucking start swigging the coat around. They're standing on the seats, you know. The soju flows heavy at the concert. They're into it, man. And they're into it hard. And then, so, it was like Clapton plays the best of Clapton. Like, he covered, or not covered, but he played all of his hits. And his new stuff. And stuff he was still working on. Which was weird, because it was the, Babyface album that was produced, right?
Yeah.
This is his R&B phase that he did, like, one weird R&B album, which I heard all of those songs played with the standard band, and they didn't do any, like, DJ tracking for the R&B bit, right?
Right.
So I was like, these sound really kind of funky and kind of groovy and kind of good. That album, I'm trying to think, what was the name of that album? The one with My Father's Eyes
Oh God.
on it. You know, him with the big puffy coat?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the name of that album. Anyway, when I heard the R&B version of the album, I was like, no, we've made a mistake here. Like, you playing these songs, same tempo and everything, but on, like, real instruments,
Yeah.
worked in a way that was just really new and unique, but not like when you actually try to do actual R&B. But Eric Clapton has always had his entire career, he's done country phases, you know, he's always like shifted up his influence in genre and what he was doing. You know, 80s is not a good time for Clapton, both on the cocaine front and on the music front. There's just a lot of albums of just like, August, skip it, man, just don't.
They know.
But yeah, it was great. It was like he was playing all the new stuff, he was playing the stuff he was into, he played all his classic stuff. The vibe was great at the concert, and I blew like $100 a seat on those tickets because I could at the time, and I'm like, I'm getting front row seats for this motherfucker. So I was talking about with all of my friends went, and they sat, you know, in like the $30 section. Wow,
Another great revive.
that was great. And they were just like, yeah, this was cool. And I was like, oh, did you see the moment where Clapton looked over at the bass guitarist guy and he winked and then he did the jam thing and then he spun it, and they're like, what are you talking about, man? We couldn't see any of that. So that raised my appreciation for if you're gonna go see the band you love, spend the money and sit close. You know, get good seats. If you just go into a concert because you're like, hey, let's go to the concert. Okay, what's playing? All right, cool. That sure, take the cheap seats. Who cares? But if it's like, no, I just love these people. Like, this is my band or this is the artist I love. That once in your life, man, sit up close. It's an entirely different experience. I swear, when he sweat, it landed on us. That's how close we were.
God.
The man sweats a lot, too. When I was up there, I'm like, you are old, and I don't think you need to be moving around this much. The next concert, I saw him back in the States. He sat down for a lot of the concert. Granted, he was bringing out, this was the Robert Johnson. Robert Johnson, I think. Robert Jordan's a different person. The Robert Johnson tribute album that he did. Which, if you know Clapton, a lot of his songs are Robert Jordan songs anyway. But where he just sort of played them, not shifted around or you know, changed up any. And, yeah, so he was bringing out like his acoustic Martin and everything that he's got. So a lot of that, you know, dictated that he sat down. A lot of that, he just needed to sit down. Also, when I was in Korea, I saw Les Miserables. And I got to see the London cast, which is the album that I had bought when I bought, so that was great because all of the accents were the ones from my CD. It's got to be like the worst thing in the world to like, I listened to the French cast and then had to see it in New York and was bothered the entire time that the accents were all off.
Raise my ATM. Ejecting.
That was my high school, like, nerd corner musical. Like, learned all the songs, read the book, watched all the movies. In fact, my first cat was named Javert. Which my wife at the time, you know, she knew it was from Les Mis but didn't know what the character was, right? Javert is the cop who kills himself at the end, right? He is the
Spoilers.
one who is constantly chasing Valjean because he's an escaped convict, and then realizes at the end, oh wait, I'm actually the villain here. I didn't realize that, and I can't deal with this world where I was following the law, and the law is evil. And then she's like, that's what you named the cat after? Like, he's the best character. He's the one that makes a choice. Everybody else, like all the heroes in the story, they just do the right thing. That's not the choice. It takes a choice to be a villain. You know, you have a reason. Usually, a good villain does. And usually the good villain doesn't even see themselves as a villain. So. Alright. More Overwatch, John?
Yeah, more Overwatch.
Alright, we're doing more Overwatch when we come back.